Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Critic. I'm Brian Koppen. We're with critic Meinard Cuskey. Meinard Cuskey, how the hell are you?
I'm great, Brian. How are we?
Oh, good. Thank you so much. We follow him on Instagram. It's Meinard Cuskey, pronounced like Maynard from Tool, but spelled differently. So it's Meinardcuskey on Instagram. And there I see that you might have a Spotify album and a band. What can you tell me about that?
I do, yeah. So I have a all acoustic instrumental EP out on Spotify under my name, and then my band is having our debut album come out next week on streaming. My band's called Many Kids Take Meds. We're a post-hardcore kind of adjacent band.
Okay, so if you had to kind of pick comparables, like a handful of bands that, like if you were like, if you're a fan of this band, you should listen to our band. What, many kids take meds?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so what are the bands you sound like, if any?
We're huge title fight fans. We take a lot of inspiration from them. You can hear it in me and the other guitar players playing. I would say we kind of sound a little like Ovlov as well.
Gosh,
But
I'll
yeah,
have to listen to those
a lot
too.
of inspirations.
Cool. Yeah, these sounds like non-Hall of Fame bands, but maybe they
Yeah.
will be someday, or maybe you will be. And so that's what we're doing today. We're doing the Hall of Fame face-off, where we each pick 5 to 7 artists and songs who are in the Hall of Fame, the Rock Hall of Fame. And I'm going to go first, which gives you the opportunity to pick a strong or a weak song to match up against it. And let me see which one I want. Let's go for Public Enemy, Harder Than You Think. What were you able to listen to the song? What did you think, and what song would you like to face off against it?
I was. Let me look through my list again. I apologize.
Yeah, it's a good list.
Trying to find it in my email. I'm so sorry.
Well, yeah, I also
Um,
have them. What
I,
band are you thinking of?
Public Enemy is a rap band out of New York, right?
Yeah, so I think it's Flavor
I think.
Flava Flav and Chuck D, I think.
Yeah. Okay, I found it. Yeah, I did. I think I did a Ramones song for that one.
Oh, sure. So that's Blitzkrieg Bop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, were you able to listen to mine? What did you think, and what do you like about Ramon's Blitzkrieg Bop? And let me know, why is it titled like that? Because Blitzkrieg was what, Lightning War in World War II. So I'm kind of, just a hugely catchy song that seems to have nothing to do with that, or does it?
Maybe it does. I mean, that's some old early punk, you know.
Yeah.
So old and early punk always kind of has that, political anti-war kind of standing.
But they did make it a bop, didn't they?
Yeah,
is that where
they
people
did.
the kids are saying it's a bop because that's kind of what it is. I mean, it's just a hopelessly catchy. I mean, I think at some point he does say maybe bullet to the head or something, so maybe it is political. But yeah, what's your, as a musician in your band, how would you like to be like or not be like the Ramones?
I mean, they were massively influential, like that is the start of a very early on genre. Um, and they made a new sound, and I would love to make a new sound that inspires
Ooh.
a lot of other people.
Yeah, so like, what, yeah, how can you even describe their sound if you had to try? And then kind of if you had to make a new, your band is making a new sound, what would you call that compared to what you would call the sound that is Ramones Blitzkrieg Bop?
So I would say the Ramones, at least in general, have a very raw kind of sound. Just a couple of guitars, a singer, and a drummer and a bass player.
Oh yeah, how much did they even spend on production? I mean, it could have been in the hundreds or
Yeah,
low thousands. Just turn on a recorder.
yeah. And that's probably what they did. Um,
And
and
everything they made,
that's
all revenue they made was complete profit because there were zero costs.
Yeah, and that's what I like about, especially that really early on punk. It's just music to be music.
Yeah. Do you hear anything like that today? Because like I think when I think of bands that are kind of I don't know, lo-fi but still kind of rocking, I'm thinking of stuff like Murder City Devils or Single Mothers or something like that. Like what kind of, punk bands today are still having fun with the sound or having that
Um,
raw sound anyway?
Honestly, I think the bands that are doing it very well today lean a lot more towards the hardcore kind of genre,
Yeah.
um, and post-hardcore because they all have the same kind of beliefs, same political beliefs and same like ideals about music. They just want to make music that stands with people,
Yeah, and
and they
maybe you
do.
can explain the difference between hardcore and post-hardcore to me, especially with respect to the ideals.
So
Because
yeah,
how do you describe
uh,
the sound, and then how do you describe the ideals for hardcore and post-hardcore?
it's honestly it's kind of hard to describe. Hardcore teen tends to lean a little heavier and
Yeah.
a lot faster typically. Post-hardcore and the beliefs with hardcore is a big thing that like kind of stands with the genre. It's a lot of about politics and about like issues with the world. Post-hardcore I feel like tends to be a lot softer, and it's a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Introspective to
Oh,
an
okay.
extent. It's more so hardcore is about like battles with things in the world. Post-hardcore, at least for me, sometimes means battles with things in ourselves.
Oh, because I'm thinking like when I'm thinking about versus the world and maybe a heavier sound, I'm thinking of something like Chat Pile. Have you heard of Chat Pile?
Yeah, Chap Pile is really cool.
Yeah, so are they hardcore? Because there's that song called
Um,
"Why," where the lyrical hook was, why do they have to live outside?" Meaning the homeless people, and he
yeah, I'm
really
honest. I'm
empathized with that or
really,
sympathized.
I'm really, really bad with naming genres. I kind of name them based off of, or at least when I think Chat Pile, I think it leans. I'm not too familiar, but I do know of them. I have
Yeah.
buddies that listen to them. I think they definitely have more so hardcore beliefs, but I think they even lean a little heavier.
Okay. Yeah, stuff like, and then something like Jesus Lizard, because there's also post-punk, and I just don't. I mean, all these
Yeah,
things are so
when
confusing. Like, do you like Jesus Lizard, and what would you classify them personally?
I don't know them, but when I think post punk, I think a lot of like I don't know, it's always British dudes, kind of same kind of same thing, a couple guitars, bass player, and a drummer.
Okay.
Still relatively raw, but kind of um when I think post punk, I think if like new wave and punk had a baby. And I
Oh,
do
okay.
like punk a lot. Like Inhaler is one that comes to mind. A band that's no longer together that I really like to gatekeep is Courier Club.
Ooh.
And they some of the members made a new band called Monoblock that I
Oh.
think all kind of blend in that post punk kind of sound.
Oh, good. I'll have to check those out. Like, yeah, I'm really trying to
Yeah,
figure out those micro genres, but I assume Jesus Lizard is at least hardcore if it's
yeah, I'm
if post
terrible
punk is
with
a bunch of
micro.
British dudes.
Yeah, at least how I think about it.
Okay, cool. It's time for you to pick a song. What song off your list would you like to pick, and what do you like about it? And I'll tell you what I'm facing off.
Um, so we already got Blitzkrieg Bop. I'll do Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin.
Oh, cool. And then I guess that's facing off against my Van Halen's Ain't Talking About Love. So yeah, what do you think of each song, and why'd you pick Led Zeppelin?
So I'm a guitar player, and I think Van Halen's great. But I wanted for this one, I kind of wanted to go guitar player with guitar player. I think Van Halen's really, really good, but in the '80s there was a lot of like guitar athletics, which I'm not the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
Eruption. I'm not a bit like I love the sound of Van Halen. I think his riffs are great. Riffs are hard to write. The whole lot of love song has a wonderful riff. And but yeah, something like Eruption by Van Halen, I'm just like I've heard way better shredding. Like somebody like
yeah,
Buckethead is technically proficient,
oh,
and Eruption
Buckethead.
just sounded. Wait, do you like Buckethead?
Oh, I love Buckethead. And honestly, this is a hot take. Probably shouldn't be saying this. Someone's gonna cut my head off. But I think Buckethead is a way better guitar player for Guns N' Roses than Slash.
Oh,
I
sure, that was
I
great.
don't think Slash is that great.
Yeah, dude, one of the best moments in television history, we'll say, is when Jimmy Fallon, the ever excited Jimmy Fallon, announced Guns N' Roses live. We're back together, this time with Buckethead live at the MTV Music Awards. And he was just so excited because he was like, I can't believe. I mean, everything excites him, but he couldn't believe that he was part of the kind of the get together show on TV for Guns N' Roses. And, Axl's voice kind of sucked. But Buckethead, I mean, people were like, "Who the fuck is this?" Because he can play Slash
Yeah.
better than Slash.
Oh, Buckethead is phenomenal.
I've seen him. Have you seen him in concert?
I have not.
Like so everybody gives him gifts and stuff like that. And so we actually like his side band too, but it's called Cornbugs. And
I've
so
never heard
that's
of him.
well there's a guy named Chop Top who was on what Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He was also in that Rob Zombie movie whatever, but he has the best voice. I think he got his degree in literature at Yale. So this guy's an interesting dude, but it's almost like a comedy side band for Buckethead where he's doing a lot of chicken picking and really interesting guitar work. And
Really?
yeah, Cornbugs had a song called Box of Hair. So at the Buckethead show, my buddy gave him a box of hair.
That's super cool.
Yeah, but he does nunchucks and stuff, which is not really that important. But yeah, so Whole Lotta Love has a great riff. The thing I don't like about it is that yeah, riffs are hard to do because, with such a simple guitar thing, Jimmy Page or whatever the hell his name is, was surprisingly effective. Like riffs can be so hard to write because they can be, it's just it's so difficult to come up with a new one. And he did it there. The problem I have with the song is that 2 or 3 minutes in, there's just a minute of dead space. And
Oh yeah.
because it's so dead, the intro back into the music is so abrupt because they're like, well, what else can we do? Because it's such a
Yeah.
weird middle area where they were trying to be experimental that the lead back into the music kind of sucks.
Yeah, and and there's a point in Whole Lot of Love where it's not my favorite. Robert Plant he just starts moaning. He starts making weird fucking noises, and
Yeah,
it's
it's kind of
like,
sexual too. He's like every inch of my love, backdoor man. I'm like, dude, we know you get laid, Plant. You are one of the better voices in the history of time. But were they trying to be
oh yeah.
experimental like Pink Floyd? Like I don't know the timing of that song.
Hmm. Um,
Like it was
but yeah, no,
experimental. Like they were trying new studio tricks, but it just came off like a minute of dead air almost.
yeah, Whole Lot of Love is definitely an interesting song. But for this one, especially being a guitar player and seeing you pick a Van Halen song, I was kind of like, yeah, let's go riff for riff here. Because every time I hear the Whole Lot of Love riff, I know exactly what song it is. I
Yeah.
know exactly who's playing.
Yeah. And so, yeah. So if you had to be similar or different from Jimmy Page, I imagine that you're not doing just kind of long-winded solos while you're drunk on stage. Kind of, I assume your songs are a lot tighter. But I mean, do you
Yeah.
aspire to write a riff like that? Because that riff is pretty amazing and simple.
I mean, yeah, Jimmy Page is some of the most iconic riffs ever. And then there's I'm pretty sure it's Black Dog. But like he sat down, he was like, "Yeah, let's make something no one can rip off, no one can even play." Because I mean,
Ah,
now people can play it because there's tabs. There's people that have learned it. You don't have to spin a record back to hear it again and play to it. So nowadays you can learn it. Which honestly makes it a lot harder to write a riff that like you're making the active decision to make it hard for other people to learn.
I love that. That's his goal because everybody's trying to rip him off at that point.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean they were one of the biggest bands in the world at the time, if
Yeah.
not the
So, like, is
everyone.
your goal to write something that nobody else can sound like, just kind of like the new sound that you're trying to create? Like, your guitar work will be distinct and singular. It will be Maynard Cuskey.
Yeah, I mean I would love to have my own sound. But like I said, nowadays writing a riff that no one else can play is pretty hard. You
Yeah.
can be very, very technical and then it obviously makes it challenging, but if your riff's good enough, it gets popular enough, people will make tabs for it. They'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know that should be the goal anyway. It's just like come up with a riff
Yeah.
first because there's nothing new under the sun. It's very difficult. I mean, there's a guy, through Buckethead, I ran into this guitarist called Bumblefoot. And his guitar phrasing is so unique that I'm like, wow, nothing sounds like this. So yeah, if you can get a singular sound like that, it would be great, but easier said than done. Let's go to the
Wait.
next song from you were talking about Black Dog, but now let's talk about your Pearl Jam's Black versus my Soundgarden Fell on Black Days. What do you think about both?
Ooh, they're both great songs. I personally love the like 90s grunge area.
Oh yeah.
Everything comes out of the Pacific Northwest and Seattle. It's all amazing. It's really raw. It's just really honest. And that's what I love most about it. Um, I will say no one beats out Chris Cornell in terms of singing. No one.
He's a great singer, but it's like because he's so high and distinct, it's almost like you have to be ready to listen to it. Like, meaning I like a
Yeah.
lot more Pearl Jam songs. Of course, their catalog is bigger, and there's a lot more shitty songs because they, don't always bat 100 with every new album or bat 1,000
Oh,
with every new album. But Chris Cornell, it's like he's so one way and one note that you have to be in the mood to listen to him. But having said that, I can agree that, of course, he's one of the better rock vocalists
yeah, he
there
is
is.
phenomenal. 100%. And Fell on Black Days is a amazing song. I think like Soundgarden and Audio Slave made some of my favorite songs of all time, but Black by Pearl Jam, I know this for me and the other guitar player in my band, we both that's one of those songs where we both wish we wrote that.
Yeah. So
Like
yeah,
we
tell me
wish
what
we
you like so much about it because it was on 10, which I weightlifted to a bunch when I was a teen. But I do love Pearl Jam. I saw them in concert, and Black was such a surprisingly good song. Remember that album was so cohesive because it had all these interstitials. Like, at the beginning of the album and the end of the album had that kind of ambient music, and I almost think
yeah.
they went between songs too. And something like Black was very consistent with that, but it also went from very light to very dark, kind of organically and naturally.
But yeah, I think that's one of those songs where I genuinely think it's one of the greatest songs of all time.
Wow. And you're way I think you're younger than me, so it's just how were you even exposed to Pearl Jam? Because were you I mean you weren't a
Um,
teen when they were the hit.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of the era of music I grew up listening to, like my stepdad was a guitar player and
Ah.
he was a big 80s hair metal guy, so he like loved the guitar athletics like I was talking about earlier. But I grew up kind of around that music cuz they were, they were around my age when like Pearl Jam and Nirvana were all kind of blowing up and going crazy.
Yeah, and so I guess my question is, we both picked bands in grunge that were not Nirvana. I think
Yeah.
Nirvana is personally overrated like crazy. I think that somebody like Lane Staley was much better than Lane Staley from Alice in Chains was much better than
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain and Nirvana, and both deaths were tragic. But as far as a catalog is concerned, and a unique sound, Alice in Chains rules. But why didn't you pick something like Nirvana as somebody in rock? What is your opinion of Nirvana? Because I would think that anything bad you say about Nirvana can and will be used against you in your fan base, which probably
Yeah,
loves. Yeah.
when I was around 13, I like that is which is around when I started playing guitar, 13, 14. I loved Nirvana and I cherish them. Like they have a big sweet spot. Same thing with Green Day because that's kind of what got me into rock
Hmm.
and kind of led me to play guitar. I have a huge soft spot for Nirvana. I think Kurt Cobain to certain extents was an absolute genius. And I think the way he looked at music was really interesting. Um,
Yeah, I think he was trying to be original. I think he was naturally good, but
yeah,
it's just I really think that I guess he had depression and things like that. So, but you're like, dude, you're not that big, man. Like you're big, you're huge right now. You're the biggest, you're the biggest band
yeah,
right now, but you could just, chill the fuck out, put out great albums the rest of your life, and we'd be interested to hear all of them. I almost think you could have had a career like David Bowie because I would I would have thought that he would have reinvented himself every 3 to 5 years, just being like,
yeah,
I'm not feeling this kind of music anymore. Fuck it. Let me do something jangly because I think he was friendly with Michael Stipe at the time from REM. So I would have looked forward to a whole career of Kurt Cobain. I think he would have mellowed out a little bit.
yeah,
But
yeah. No,
yeah,
he definitely. It's sad. He definitely could have gone farther, and he was a big David Bowie fan. I do think he might have, switched up a little bit, but
yeah. Oh, that
I
would have
do
been
think Anna was not the best grunge band. But I think it's kind of the same thing as the Ramones, where, it was kind of the birth of a sound, and that sound inspired a lot of other music.
Yeah, and at the very least, it kind of popularized a movement that had a deeper catalog. And so,
Yeah,
if that's your entree to that, to grunge, well, it's a rewarding thing. It's like, thank you, Nirvana, for that. All these kids are like, I'm going to buy a flannel, do a stage dive. But that kind of got them into hopefully other grunge sounds. And he really tried to turn on people like the Pixies. I think I think Smells Like Teen Spirit's kind of a ripoff of Gouge Away by Pixies. And I think he said as much. But tried to
I
turn
don't
people
know.
onto the Pixies and Jesus Lizard, which I thought was great because it kind of gave me an opportunity to look at those bands too. So your next song, one of my dad's favorites, I think, and I saw these people in concert, Fleetwood Mac, The Chain versus my Zombies, She's Not There. What do you think about each?
Um, they're both, again, both really, really great songs. I love Fleetwood Mac. I think in their later stuff, Lindsey Buckingham is one of my favorite guitar players of all time because he
Wow,
always
my
played.
dad thinks the same thing. He just thought he was
Yeah.
like, wow. So I think I tried to tell my dad something like he might be an amazing songwriter on guitar, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's an amazing guitarist technically. And so would you
Yeah,
agree with that? He's just a great
what
songwriter on
I
guitar.
what I like most about him is he plays to the song. You know, he
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
he doesn't he doesn't overplay, he doesn't try and show off. He plays what's perfect. And I think like the very end, the solo of the chain is perfect. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
And I heard it was in one take. I don't know how true that is.
Wow. And I would think
Uh
his stuff you can do in one take just because it's a little bit slower, I would think. But the ending
yeah.
itself, not only the guitar, but like the vocals at the end, it's very kind of compelling. It really builds to a kind of a jam or a bop.
But yeah, you kind of with the zombie she's not there, it's another female vocalist and in that kind of more classic realm. And so I wanted to yeah, it was a perfect spot for me to pick a Fleetwood Mac song. But also She's Not There by the Zombies is a amazing song.
Dude, I think we might be talking about different songs because isn't the Zombies, isn't that the Dudes? Is it female fronted? Yeah.
I'm
The
pretty
Zombies.
sure it is.
Or are you thinking about Cranberry Zombie? Because that song
I
is
think I'm
amazing.
thinking that She's Not There.
Okay. It might be. Let me check. I have no idea who's in the Zombies. Let's check it out. Members: Rod, Colin, Steve, Tom, Soren. Is Soren a man or a woman? Who knows? But no, his vocals are very kind of high and
Oh,
smooth and
yeah.
great.
Oh,
So
I'm
yeah,
listening to it right now. Yeah. No, I don't know why I thought it was a. I know the song very well. I don't know why I thought it was a female.
no, it sounds like a female, absolutely. But also that kind of thing would happen with a band like Mansun, Mansun, where they would sometimes sing. You would think it's a girl, or what's the other one? But yeah, Zombies is very smooth. As far as Fleetwood Mac the Chain, I think it's awesome. But when you think about it, lyrically, isn't he talking about like the relationship in terms of a chain? Right? Like you told me you
I
never break the chain, right? Like, what do you think about relationships as chains?
um, that's kind of a hard one.
Would you, yeah, if you wrote a song about a relationship,
I don't think I don't think it would be about a
would you
chain.
put chains in?
Yeah, no, yeah, no, I guess I never really looked at that.
Yeah, I'm not
Uh,
really a lyrics first guy either. But you know, in listening to your songs in preparation for this, I was like, is he talking about a relationship? And weren't they in a relationship? You
yeah.
know, Stevie and
Well, I mean, the story of Fleetwood Mac is it's very interesting. But yeah,
yeah.
Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks were not ever in a relationship, I don't think.
Okay.
Just good friends. I know when Fleetwood Mac moved to the US, they wanted Stevie Nicks and she was like, "Yeah, but we got to have Lindsey."
Really?
Yeah. Okay. I not 100% confirmed, but what I've heard.
Yeah, and
Uh
I think what I heard, and I have to look on this via several AIs, but I thought everybody was sleeping with everybody in that band. That doesn't mean they were in a
yeah,
relationship.
I
But that's so
actually I
funny that she had to bring Lindsey Buckingham in because yeah, her voice is very good. But my mom used to say that her range is pretty shitty. Like she has a very limited range, but everybody loves her because you know the one note, just like Chris Cornell, the one note she
yeah.
does hit is a very good note.
But yeah, no, I think that song's great. They're a very interesting band. I personally love Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, the drummer came out from behind the kit and he had it looked like catcher's gear on, you know, that protects your chest or whatever, but it was percussive. And so he did the thing where he would like rub it with his fingers and stuff like that. I think it's a Zydeco thing or whatever. Okay, the last song, and I couldn't be proud of you for this. Like I think that I know you're a music fan because you picked Radiohead's All I Need, and that's going against Velvet Underground's I'm Waiting for the Man. It shows me you know music, you know Radiohead, and you're not just like trying to pick, you know, you know, if you're a superficial music fan, you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna pick Karma Police or something like that. But all
Which
I
is
need.
also a great song.
Wait, say that again.
Which is also a great song. I love
Oh,
Karma
that's
Police.
all. It's all
Yeah.
good. But there's better songs out there, and I think like I was thinking about it in turn. Like all I need on In Rainbows to me was like how I love original was a motion picture soundtrack on Kid A, where it's this
Yeah.
deep cut and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Why did you
Yeah.
tell me about your love for Radiohead, and also what did you think of the Velvet Underground song "I'm Waiting for the Man"?
So I'm kind of, I have an interesting take on Radiohead that a lot of, because there's two types of music listeners when they listen to Radiohead. Either they're like, oh my God, I love Creep, or, or they're like, or they're like, yo, Creep sucks. And
Yeah.
I love both of them. I've listened to all the Radiohead albums, all the EPs, and I'm sure there's a couple bad songs, but for the most part, I like them all. Even their first album, which I have friends that are also Radiohead fans, and they're like, "Yeah, the first album sucks," and I'm like, they like were finding their sound, you know?
Yeah. And I think they've had yeah, I saw them in concert. They were extremely good. Um, Tom York's solo albums are also very good. He
Phenomenal.
had that group with Flea too, and he also just sung on Flea's trumpet album, Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah,
But
I saw a video about that, but I didn't really watch it. I was really confused.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So I guess he grew up. Grew up playing the trumpet, and so he just kind of recently said, "I'm going to practice the trumpet every day." And so he's kind of like Andre 3000, who just picked up the alto sax or clarinet or something and did an
Yeah, you
album.
know what? Hell
And,
yeah.
and of course, they can bring on people like Tom York to do a feature. But yeah, so as far as like Creep, it's just like compared to all the other stuff they did later in their albums, they just were so much more innovative. Like they
Yeah,
took a sound that was popular at the time in Creep and made it wonderful. It's like the Hum song called Stars, where there was a
Stars.
chugga
I love
chugga. You like that song?
I love that song.
Oh yeah, I love that song too. And so, but unlike Hum, Radiohead was like, okay, well, this is the single that's going to be released because it's going to be popular. But then they went on to do such wonderful things. It's kind of like Flaming Lips in that regard, where like
Yeah.
their early radio hits were like, she doesn't use jelly, like what the fuck? But they went on to do such great things.
But yeah, I also love the Velvet Underground, and I'm not too familiar with I'm Waiting for the Man, but I saw you pick a Velvet Underground song, and I was like, all right, what's another kind of like art rock experimental kind of band I could go for? And I was like, oh, the obvious answer is Radiohead, and All I Need is amazing. I think a I think a great song is a song that makes you think differently after you listen to it, or
Yeah.
like changes your mindset, and All I Need does that for me perfectly.
And it also just brings you into a certain mood.
Yeah.
You become instantly contemplative, just thinking about. It's just yeah, it evokes in me certain feelings that I enjoy a lot. Like Velvet Underground, I'm Waiting for the Man is a lot of fun because he's going up to score drugs, probably heroin, at Lexington. He's like up to Lexington 125, and like I live in New York City a lot, and I've always
Mhm.
wanted to go up to Lexington and 125th, which was probably crunchy back in the day with drug dealers and things like that. But they're all like, dude, you're chasing our women around. He's like, no, dude, all I'm here for is drugs. And when you're addicted to anything at all, like food or alcohol or sex or porn or whatever, it's like I don't care about anything right now. I'm going to pick up my substance of choice.
Yeah.
So like yeah, as far as that's concerned, and he got Bowie also kind of guessed it with Lou Reed. I think David Bowie actually thought Lou Reed was pretty cool, and which just says a lot about Lou Reed. And I'm not big on Nico or any of the deep cuts of Velvet Underground or even Lou Reed, but I'm Waiting for the Man. It's just so fun because he goes up to Lexington 125, and they just assume this white man, hey white boy, you're chasing our women around. He's like, no man, I'm waiting for the
No man,
man. I need my
I
drug.
got one thing on my mind, and it's not
Yeah.
a woman.
Yeah, yeah. In many ways, it's better than a woman right now. Of course, I'll be withdrawing in 5 seconds and I'll need more. Okay. Now, as far as music and things like that, how are you finding your bands? I mean, like, so did your
Oh,
stepdad kind of turn you on to a lot of this music or no? Because you do have kind
oh,
of
oh, it's
wide
definitely.
tastes.
So, I mean, honestly, as much as I hate TikTok and I wasn't on it much, I've found a lot of music from TikTok.
Oh.
Uh,
So
some of my
how'd
favorite,
you stumble upon that? Is there kind of music influencers who are exposing you to things you haven't heard?
yeah, sometimes it's that way, or sometimes, somebody's just doing like album promotion, which I hate that that's the way that it is now. As a
Yeah.
musician, I hate that to promote our album that's coming out soon. Like I have to make
You'll
silly.
be doing that soon, right?
Yeah, like I can't imagine looking like Robert Plant in the face and being like, "Yeah, you got to like post some videos to try and gain traction."
That's hilarious. That like so do you have a TikTok channel that people should be tuned in for in addition to Maynard Cuskey on Instagram, which is spelled Meinardcuskey. So hopefully your album stuff will be there. And then do you have a TikTok too? That's Maynard Cuskey.
Yeah, I do. Yep.
So what is that? So if they want to follow along.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it's
still the
Maynard.
same name, I believe. Yeah,
Oh, it's
I
still
got really.
Maynard Cuskey. Okay, I'm not even on TikTok, but I can kind of Google it. Okay, yeah. So tell me, what's the album's name? It's M Many Kids Take Meds, I think, is the band. What's the name of the album, and when does it
The
drop, and where
album,
will it be available? Like Spotify?
yeah, so it'll be available on pretty much everywhere you listen to music. When we dropped our single, we had an issue with YouTube Music, so hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it gets uploaded there.
Okay.
It should be on everything. It's called "Forever is Composed of Nows."
Ooh. And so yeah, how did you think about the names, and how does it relate to the content of the lyrics, if it does?
So, we're all the band's like kind of ages are from 18 to 21. Me being in the middle. I'm 20. We we're still kind of
Oh,
going through the
I'm sorry.
different.
I think it just accidentally played the song. Oh no, this is something else. There is a Forever is composed of now, but it's some bizarre. It's Harkle and Co. Okay, so it's Many Kids Take Meds. Are you on Spotify now with that single?
We are on Spotify now.
Okay, let me get on there. Make sure I can find it. Many kids are on meds. That's hilarious. Yeah, how did you choose the name? And yeah, again, go back to the album name, title, and how it relates to the content.
So yeah, the name is kind of subject to change. We started the band for actually a school project of our bass players. He was in a music tech class, and he wanted to make a song. Like that was a part of a project, and that's when we picked the name. We took all of our initials, which were MKTM at the time.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, and
And it
then that's
actually worked out to a very interesting song band name, right?
yeah,
Wow.
which we might be changing it. We'll see.
No, yeah,
Uh,
I see it right here. Many kids take meds. You already have tons of monthly listeners, and the singles on here are Last Day to Decide and Distant Memories, correct? And if so, how does, are they representative of your album? Like, do
yeah,
most of the, if they like these two singles, will they like the rest of the album?
I think they will. Those songs are relatively low key. We have a couple of slightly heavier songs on there that are really really fun. But lyrically and song wise, the album's kind of about um like the change in your life from when you graduate high school into going into college. Like a lot of self character building and a lot of I don't know
But
a
no,
good
you're
way to.
right. That's the period of time where the rubber hits the road as far as life. That's where life kind of finally begins, right? Because everybody's
Yeah, and
going
a
in
lot of
different directions, right?
yeah, like some of my friends moved to college far away, and like I don't get to see them, and like you don't know if that relationship still is going to kind of stand. And then also a lot of introspective kind of stuff. Like kind of the question of like what next.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. So people between 18 and 21 will surely love it, right?
I would think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to it right now. And I guess because and don't worry because I went to four colleges in 3.5 years, so I graduated early, but I went to four colleges, and so just know that some of your beloved friends who moved away might ultimately move back home. So
Yeah.
stay in touch with the people you want to stay in touch with. But yeah, so we follow them everywhere. Maynard Cuskey, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Brian.